Uh, this paper I presented as a keynote paper for the second ASEAN Sago Symposium in Unimas, Sarawak, Malaysia. So this is a second international Sago Symposium and I was the keynote speaker. My topic is on greening Asia, Sago invasion. So this is now an update of where sago can be found in Asia. Before, in literatures or in history, it was said that all over Asia was filled with sago as wild stands all over before the coming of rice, potato, corn, etc. So the first source of carbohydrates for all inhabitants in Asia could have been sago. But little by little it has been annihilated in favor of corn, rice, and other foodstuff. So right now, the biggest wild stand can be found in New Guinea. New Guinea is divided into two: Indonesian Papua, and Eastern Papua. But the Philippines also has its share in Mindanao. Borneo Island has the big plantations shared by Indonesia and Malaysia. And right now, Malaysia is exploiting sago as a starch export in the provinces of Sarawak, Sabah, and Brunei, I think should have. Okay, so Indonesia, of course, has the highest number of hectares. And also, but Sarawak has the most number or highest tons produced for export. Thailand has very little in southern Thailand. Malaysia, peninsular Malaysia has none. Okay, I will start about greening Asia. If you have, or if some of the audience do not know about sago, the plant looks like this. And for every 10 meters square in a hectare, the whole space can be filled with suckers and a few mature trunks, which can be harvested every year, while the next suckers are waiting. And if this is your 1 hectare, there are 100 meters square, 10 by 10 square. For every 10 by 10 square meter in a hectare, if there's only one trunk, there could be 100 trunks harvestable per hectare. And of course, natives will tell you that is never the case. There are always more than 100 trunks harvestable per year, per hectare, if it's filled with sago stands. This is in Malaysia. They are exploring or trying the first plantation experiment, but they haven't told us yet what is the success story behind this plantation experiment. This is how the inside looks like. There is a mature trunk coming out, and all around are suckers. Okay, I compare this now with other plants that are being encouraged today. How about oil palm? Oil palm is being encouraged in Malaysia, in southern Philippines, but I'm sure it cannot compare with sago. After 30 years, you have to replant. And then it's not even for food, it's for oil purposes. It's not staple. This is rubber, and it comes also to a point that you have to plant again for the rubber. This is a sago plant. Nothing to worry about after the first harvest, because you just come back for eternity to harvest. Okay, so this is rice and this is corn. You have to invest in the planting, in the maintenance of fertilizer and pesticides, just like corn. But for a sago wild stand, you don't even worry about typhoons or floods. It gives us at least 20 tons per hectare, while rice will only give us 6 tons times 2 per year. That high investment for twice a year planting. About 6 tons per hectare of corn. But look at what happens if there's a storm, typhoon in Asia. The sagu is still upright, but all the rest have already been damaged by the typhoon. This plant does not need to be harvested immediately. You can have a lead time of 6 months to 1 year before you need to harvest. So why green? Why do we need to green Asia? For food security. To have food on your table, that's being green, that's life. So sago flour can be used in many ways as food alternative. By itself, it can replace rice. So the natives are eating only this instead of buying corn and rice. So we have done this in the academe. We made food products. Noodles particularly, you can store this for 4 to 6 months. Bread and, well, why green? Because of carbon dioxide remediation. When you start to cut down a hectare of sago stand, then you are releasing to the atmosphere a large number of tons of carbon dioxide. Okay, let's go back to our basic science on photosynthesis. For every mole of glucose in the starch, you need 6 moles of CO2. And in the presence of light and water, you can imagine this factory using so much carbon dioxide to clean up our mess of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So by photosynthesis, you make use of the useless carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and then you produce glucose and then finally starch. So that's how the factory runs at 20 tons per hectare. Conservatively, if I say 20 tons, that's 200 kilos of sago starch per pump. If there are 100 pumps in a hectare, which is not true, it's more, you are using how much carbon dioxide to use for your 200 or 100 stands. Why green? This is a peat swamp. It can grow anywhere where there is less nutrient. It can grow in flooded areas. It can even grow in dry land. It can even survive forest fires in Indonesia. Another green prospect, it is a green material for green chemistry. If I use starch, convert it into ethanol, then that's green. Convert to lactic acid and make bioplastics, that's greening Asia. And another prospect is the dollar, the green box that you get if you export the starch, the lactic acid, the ethanol, and the bioplastics. So, thank you, and that is how important it is to save, conserve sago, and make Asia green, model green area in the planet.